Good evening from Los Angeles, California. I'm Dr. Ryan Ava. As we are continuing to keep our focus on the January 6th committee's final report, NBC News reports that the panel has yet to make a final decision on criminal referrals for the disgraced single-term Donald Trump, but it is actively considering recommending charges for insurrection, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy. All three recommendations are possible, but three different sources involved in the January 6th committee's deliberations have told NBC News that a final decision has yet to be made. But first, we have to talk about Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy. You have probably heard the term Never Trumpers. Well, what about Never Kevins? A group of 5 members of McCarthy's own party are promising to stick together against him, threatening his candidacy for House Speaker, while simultaneously tearing the GOP apart. Well, this is great news for the country as a whole, as taking GOP apart will leave them little to no time to take the country apart with their far-right conspiracy theories and ideologies. The Never Kevin Caucus, that is what a tiny group of House Republicans are calling themselves, vowing at all costs to deny Kevin McCarthy the speakership. So this week, Kevin McCarthy's more moderate allies decided to label themselves the Only Kevin Caucus. And they even made these handy little OK buttons, which could be read a couple of different ways. As only Kevin will be the next Speaker of the House, or that their guy, the Republican Speaker wannabe, who led them to their tiny little majority in November is just, well, okay. So the question now remains, can those moderates drag their leader across the finish line 16 days from now? And what cost are they willing to pay in order to do that? Republican Congressmen Andy Biggs, Matt Gaetz, Bob Good, Matt Rosendale, and Ralph Norman have made a pledge, so goes one, so goes all. Meaning McCarthy will have to flip all 5 of these Never Kevins in order to become Speaker. That's because Republicans have a slim House majority, and McCarthy can only lose 4 Republicans if he wants the votes for the Speaker's gavel, meaning he won't get it without their support. It's no surprise then that McCarthy is getting increasingly desperate. This week, he made the unusual move of pushing the races for committee leadership spots until after the Speaker's election on January 3rd. The thinking is that McCarthy could use that as a leverage to lock down support from disgruntled members. Remember, McCarthy has been on a years-long quest to become House Speaker, and now, less than 3 weeks before the vote that would seal the deal for him, he can't even get his own party on his side. The Wall Street Journal editorial board put it best, quote, "Republicans are the gang that couldn't shoot straight except at one another. They can't even find the votes to elect the GOP Speaker, much less agree on a budget strategy or much of anything else."
Is this going to be the time that the moderates are able to stand up to the hardliners and make Kevin McCarthy Speaker? Is that going to happen?
Well, they don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers right now by themselves to do that. So some deal has to be struck here. And what can Kevin McCarthy give the far right? What can he give the Freedom Caucus? What can he give essentially the pro-coup caucus? Not all of it, because some of the pro-coup members are pro-McCarthy as well. What else can he give them? He is already committed to discrediting the January 6th investigation. He's already committed to whitewashing and trying to bury and rewrite the history of the coup, the one that he told his colleagues Donald Trump should resign the presidency for. So the only thing he can give them now is the very weapon they will use later to destroy him. It's called a motion to vacate. It's a little bit of House floor proceduralism that basically says any member can call a vote to depose the Speaker at any time. And it's real. And if you want to know how real it is, just ask John Boehner. It existed back when John Boehner was Speaker. And it's the sword they held over his head that eventually destroyed the Speaker.
This has become kind of a major sticking point. And as you said, it's a little bit of a kind of arcane language. But it basically means that they can get rid of the Speaker at any time. Just listen to a kind of back and forth between one lawmaker who is pushing for this and another who's saying, at the end of the day, this is all just going to cause chaos.
There's no CEO in the country that doesn't have accountability. There's nobody that goes to work every day that doesn't have accountability. The country can't wait 2 years for an accountability.
you can't govern with a gun to your head. You know, and that's what they're asking for. You can scream the word accountability all you want, which is what they do, and stand on their moral high horse, but in the end, it is just a path to chaos, not stability.
I do wonder, though, I mean, at the end of the day, will even giving this to the Freedom Caucusers secure the votes for McCarthy?
I just want to take a step back. Let's say that McCarthy does become Speaker. He can't even get his caucus together right now to elect him Speaker. How are they going to legislate? How are they going to do anything next year if this vote is this problematic? You saw the Wall Street Journal editorializing on this.
The reality is that they weren't planning on legislating.
No,
anyway.
That is
at all.
So I think that that's part of the challenge.
No, but the question was, like, what investigations would they put forward focus on during the next 2 years? Would it be on Hunter Biden? Would it be on the DHS secretary? Would it be on January 6th? And that is, for McCarthy, that's been the real incentive he can dangle in front of dissenters and people who are not sold on him yet. But it doesn't seem to have sold enough people at this point in time.
He's already committed to those things.
Right.
Those things that you listed are real, and he's already done it. Like,
and he also has
running out of bullets.
He also has the support of former President Trump, who told Breitbart on Friday, look, I think this. Kevin has worked very hard. It's been exhausting. If you think he's been all over, I think he deserves a shot. Hopefully, he's going to be very strong and going to be very good, and he's going to do what everybody wants, which is maybe a great endorsement, but maybe also a very tepid endorsement.
Yeah, and look, if Donald Trump, in calling some of these members, can't convince them to drop their objections to Kevin McCarthy, then, like, what's going to do it, you know? And I think that shows the extent to which these 5 members in particular, who are in this, quote, never Kevin group, are doing this because they see the political incentives in their districts and they think it elevates them as stars on the far right. But to the question of what can Kevin McCarthy do, there's been this question since the midterm elections, since he secured this narrower than expected majority of, who is this going to empower? And so far, even though the moderates are kind of stepping up a little bit here, we're still seeing that the Freedom Caucus, the far right folks in that caucus, are the ones who are still holding the cards. And that's because that's always where the incentives are in a House Republican caucus, and we're seeing that continuing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if anybody, the winner here is President Biden, who now kind of by default is going to get a Republican conference that doesn't have its
Support my work, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Also, please don't forget to hit the bell icon so you wouldn't miss any of my new videos. Thanks for watching.